Hey everyone, this is me, the Undead Viking, and I'm here with another one of my little RPG reviews. Now, I always say I want to do more of these, and I always plan on doing more of these. I read lots of RPGs all the time. More on that in just a second here. Yeah, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like life and time and kids taekwondo classes and kids swimming classes and, kids band, just, children take up a lot of time. And plus, now it's nice outside up here in Minnesota. So, well, I guess technically where you are, maybe it's down here in Minnesota if you're in Canada or whatever. But anyway, regardless, here in Minnesota, it's getting nice outside. So there's, I gotta maintain my yard, and we're doing some landscaping and, throwing away all the stuff that we were going to get rid of as soon as it was nice outside. Anyway, random stuff happens and you run out of time. Recently, I was, I get sick, seriously sick, rarely. I can't remember the last time I was seriously sick, and, what I'm referring to is, I spent, the last, week and a half, just basically in and out of, flu-y type things going on, and I still got the cough, and I still got a little bit of a scratchy throat, but, fevers, night sweats, late night rushes to the bathrooms, that sort of things, and I don't like being sick just because it tires me out, I think nobody likes being sick, I guess I should say, but, the biggest thing about being sick for me is, I'm just always tired. It's like one of those things where it's you wake up in the morning and you feel kind of charged up, and maybe you can get some work done, you can get some things done, and then it's 3 hours later, you're just you're walking through, molasses trying to get something done, and then all you want to do is lie down, and you fall asleep for 6 hours, and you wake up and you're sweaty and you're hot. Anyway, you've been sick, you know what it's like, and, the one nice thing, if there's a nice thing about being sick, is that one, not much is expected out of you because you look like death warmed over. But two, I get a lot of reading done, and so I've been just reading lots of different books and just doing I read kind of almost anything, but I've been reading a lot of RPG stuff. And the review that I'm getting to that I wanted to do here for a while, and I apologize, but regardless, if you watch my channel, I tend to preamble. Thankfully now YouTube is really good about letting you skip ahead, but regardless, I got this RPG that I want to talk to you about right now, this little RPG supplement or adventure or whatever you want to call it. I got it through Kickstarter. I've started, I don't back a lot of board games on Kickstarter anymore. I should say that because I know I backed a lot, but I don't back as many as I used to. Let's put it that way. But I do back a lot of role-playing things, because role-playing games, especially from small, I shouldn't say, because big publishers, obviously they publish lots of stuff, but small board game publishers, they publish small little print runs. And a lot of times, if you don't back it on Kickstarter, it's really tough to track down after the fact. So, I didn't know anything about this publisher at all. But they had this Kickstarter campaign for this thing called Hot Springs Island. And these are the two books that I got through the Kickstarter. And what drew me to it was like the I've always liked the old adventure X1, the Island of Dread, or Isle of Dread, or whatever you want to call it. And I also liked B5, Horror on the Hill. Both of those adventures were about an island that, and technically the Island of Dread was this island it's way out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and you for whatever reason you head there, you wash ashore, whatever, and you get to explore that island. Horror on the Hill, there was this big lake, and on the lake there was this island, and this this big hill island in the middle of the lake, or not really in the middle, but it was heavily wooded, and basically everybody said don't go there, because there's things that live on that island. And so I've always liked that. It's that place that's got the mysteries or whatever. When I fly during the summer months, my dad and my brothers and my nephew, big group of us, we go and we fly into Canada and we go fishing. And you basically you take a road until there's no more roads, and then there's this basically these people that have a resort slash airplane, whatever, and you get on these planes, and the planes that can land on water, and you take off and you fly further north, and they bring you to these lakes that there are no roads to. I mean, technically, yes, you could figure out a way to walk there, but you wouldn't want to. And they've established, like cabins, log cabins on those lakes and whatever. And so you just kind of rough it for 4 or 5 days, and you get to go fishing in like the middle of nowhere. And the fishing is usually really good because the lakes haven't been overfished or whatever. And when you fly over, I'm always looking outside in these little planes, and I'm looking at the water, and I always think of, here's this wilderness, right? That like nobody walks in, nobody goes there. I mean, think of all the crazy things that could be happening there. Right now as I'm talking in that wilderness, there's like, elk and moose and bear and whatever, and maybe campers and who knows what else, but stuff going on, right, that I don't know about. And so I've always liked that idea of that island, that area where like you have no idea what's happening there. Anyway, so when I saw this, it was, these are the two books, as I said. When I saw this, I was just like, this sounds really, really cool. And so this is like the adventure. And I'll talk about this book in just a second. But this book is the field guide, the field guide to the Hot Springs Island. And the thing that I really, really like about this is that this presents itself as like a handout that you can give to the players. It's kind of something, or and you get the PDF, or at least I did. And I think you can still go onto the website and you could Google this. I think it's like Swordfish Islands is the publishing company, and you can, it is the Swordfish Islands, and they're based out of San Antonio, and you can go to their website and still you can purchase it. I think anyway. They actually had copies for this being sold at Gen Con last year in the booth that's, I can't remember, Lamentations of the Flame Princess, those people's booth. They had copies of this that they were selling, and you could have picked it up there too, but regardless. And maybe they'll do that again this year, so if you're at Gen Con, you can check that out and see if it is. But, okay, so this book presents itself like a story. This is like a journal, and that's being kept by somebody who has visited the islands, and they're sitting there working. And so it has all these different things in there. Like here it says like the Ancients alphabet, and it starts working those things out. And so you could, as a DM, like scratchings taken of the walls and markings, whatever. You could, as the DM, when you run people through this, and also like here's I'm looking at pages, I'm interrupting myself, but like here's like their field notes of like the different types of plants and whatever. You could, and I haven't run this yet, but I've often thought about doing it. I thought about like taking my PDFs that I have and like printing them out and like constructing like ripped up pages or things like that. So when people get to the island, they could find like the book, like the jacket, but like pages have been torn apart, it's been waterlogged, it's lost, and they could find different pages of the journal as they're traveling about, and so that would kind of help them to, as far as like understand, maybe give them clues or hints, because the whole idea behind this is that these aren't like normal, like, hey, there's 4 orcs in this room kind of thing. This isn't, it's like, oh, the big bad guy's a dragon or something like that. It is definitely a venture about exploration, about things that aren't going to make sense And and so it's going to twist things up, and it's going to take the players on like a ride that is going to like not be like, it's going to move away from their tropes that they're very comfortable with and understanding. And the cool thing about it is that, I mean, if your players can like really immerse themselves into the world and into the exploration, you could have a campaign or a mission where it wasn't so much about going and killing the creatures and getting their gold. It could be about the journey of the exploration is the whole point, and why that's like more important. Maybe they could be famous for discovering this island and then bringing back information about it, and then all these scholars and everybody would be interested in this lost civilization and figuring out what was going on. I mean, there are monsters, like, here's like this picture of this obsidian giant, whatever, but I mean, and that's, once again, these are things that are like, this is like a handout book, and this is a good flavor book, and it is a good like interesting background piece that the GM could share or not share as much or as little as they wanted. I mean, they could have the players like find this book as part of a treasure trove, right? And you could just throw that on the table. That's what you find. It's as you're digging through, you find a chest, and the chest has this intricate lock. You get it open, and there's a book. Oh, is it a spell book? Is it a tome of knowledge? What is it? No, it's this book. It's weathered, it's aged, and they could take that home and they could read it in their spare time, and they could say, we need to find this crazy place. We need to go to this Hot Springs Island because it sounds like there's some pretty cool magic and stuff to investigate there. So, a great piece, and I kind of I'm. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm really impressed that they went that route with it. If that makes sense, impressed. Maybe that's not the best word, but it's not a common thing, I guess I should say, and it is quite an undertaking. I guess would be a good way to put it. To like create something like that, from scratch, and create like that type of world. So, very impressed with that book. Now, all right, so here is the big book. Now, this is Hot Springs Island, and this is the book that you are going to use as a DM, and you are going to have this, be, I should say, the artwork in this book is fantastic. I mean, it's just really, really, really good from top to bottom. It's not color, it's black and white, but, that doesn't really matter to me. I don't think it really would matter to you either. It is from top to bottom, and it's also consistent. Consistent art is something that I've always looked for in books, because it kind of, if you have like several different artists, that's fine if their art is colloquially kind of the same. But if you have several different artists and they're all over the place as far as their styles and whatever, it can kind of hiccup it up a little bit for me. And whatever, maybe that's not your case, but it's just the way it has been for me. All right, so the thing about this book is that, one, I'm definitely going to say it is for an experienced game master or dungeon master, or whatever you want to call it. It is, you're going to need to have to read the whole thing, and you're probably going to have to read it twice. Secondly, if you're looking for like stats and whatever, like here's all these little imps or whatever. If you're looking for stats or hit points or anything like that, you're not going to get it. This is a system neutral game. So you could bring it to whatever edition D&D you wanted. You could play it in Fantasy Age. You could play it in Swords and Wizardry. You could play it in Dungeon Crawl Classics. Whatever. You could port it over, but that's going to take a little bit of effort on your part as the game master, because it isn't just, you're not going to turn to a page and it's going to say, okay, there's 4 wolves in this spot, these are their hit points, this is how they're going to attack. You're going to have to kind of know what's going on and have an idea of what the purpose is for those monsters and why they are where they are. So here's the thing that is super, super cool, and I don't want to tell too much about it, because there's a lot of like the whole spoilers thing. But there are several different factions of creatures, and I'll leave it at that, on the island. And they all have different wants and likes and dislikes, and they all very organically interact with each other. And what the PCs do when they start mucking about on the island is they're going to disrupt that normal flow of things. And you as the DM will have to have read the book in its entirety to understand when the PCs show up and start messing with things, as PCs do, because they always do, what's going to happen. So like here is like this is one of the factions, the Night Axes. You know, that's this big giant brutish ogre group, you know, that is on the island, and you know what their purposes are and why they're there, and what they're trying to accomplish, whatever. There is a bunch of Nereids, you know, on there. You know, so it is, you know, just once again fantastic art. And you know what their goals are, and why they're there. You know, Nereids are normally a very neutral race, very non-involved, very uninterested in things. You know, so, but these are different, and I'm not going to. So I'm going to cover up one little portion of the book here, just because of the PG or whatever rating. And I should say, yes, this is a bit of more of a mature book. You know, I'd have no problem with my kids looking at it, but I can't judge that for anything. You can probably guess that the lady over here in the corner isn't wearing any clothes underneath my hand, so you're just going to have to buy with that. But, like, the Fugenauts, that's another, obviously, pretty evil and hardcore-looking bad guy group of things. And they, the Fugenauts, if you hadn't judged, you know, they're a bunch of, like, salamanders and what have you, and you know they're up to, you know, also no good and whatever. Now that doesn't mean to say that you don't get maps. You're going to get maps with lots of different stuff on them and things like that. They're going to tell you what's in those rooms. They're going to give you ideas of what you should be doing with those rooms, whatever. You also get a fantastic like you get like an overview area, like. Once again, I'm going to have to cover up part of the picture. I do apologize for that. And it's not that I'm a prude. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be the nice guy as far as, like, showing off the pictures and what they have, whatever. But, like, you know, so here's, like, a big giant kind of, like, one of the ruined elven cities that's on there. You know, things like that. So, there's, you know, I can't, how do I put this? Like, the creation process, the originality of this area, this Hot Springs Island, this world, that the people that created this campaign world, or this like little adventure spot that could be, you could do an entire campaign in this, but it could just be someplace that your PCs visit, whatever. But the vision and the originality of it, I mean, yeah, obviously there's some of the basics that are like going to be like that they've built this idea on, that they've definitely borrowed. But I mean, this is you know, like just a fantastic a book, you know. And the thing is, see, I'm going to show you this, and you're going to say that's it. So that's the island right there. That's the entirety of the island as far as those hexes right over here. So I know when I looked at that, I said, that's it? You know, I was like, this is supposed to be some giant island. It should be like, you know, why they should be like hundreds of hexes, right? But instead, let me see here. I can count up really quick. So 8, you know, 18, 22, 25 hexes. There's like 25 hexes of different like locations where people can go. And I just realized that as I was cutting up the hexes, they actually have numbered up to 25 because I'm an idiot and I could have just looked at that. But anyway, regardless. But each one of these hexes in and of itself is huge and has multiple things going on. Multiple things that you can explore. Multiple different rabbit holes that your players can disappear into and handle. So, once again, like I said, I don't want to give away too much about this. But suffice it to say, lots of people say, I want to create a sandbox for the players to mess with, right? This is a sandbox. This right here is is a spot where you can get your players there somehow. As I said, you could have them find a portion of this journal, find the whole journal, who cares? Find a portion of this journal and have them led to this island. You could find a treasure map that leads to an ancient elven city that's on this island and send them there. You could have their ship be dashed to the rocks by a kraken and the players wash ashore on this island and have to figure out how to survive and hopefully maybe get off and return to the world. All kinds of reasons, all kinds of ways that you can get people to this island, but once they're there, you are going to have a beautiful time, a wonderful time, letting them muck everything up and run for their lives a great deal. So, so there you go. This is, and I got this last year, and I feel bad that I haven't done the review of it until just now. But this was, without a doubt, I'm trying to remember everything else I picked up RPG related in 2017. But if this wasn't the best product, these two books here, if this wasn't the best product I got in 2017, it's damn near close. And if you are a dungeon master and you play any edition of D&D, even if you just wanted to steal the ideas, steal the premises, steal the different factions or whatever, it's worth it just to pick up. So I would, strongly suggest you check out. And I think this really flew under on a lot of people's radar. I mean, and so if you're worried about like your players, like having picked up their own copy, of course, flew underneath the radar, and here I am doing a review that anybody can watch. But regardless, if it flew underneath the radar, if you're worried about your players picking that stuff up and reading it on their own and then knowing all the secrets and whatever, you really don't have to worry about that because of the fact that, unfortunately, I think it's like one of those really rare hidden gems that not a lot of people know about. So there you go. So that is Hot Springs Island. I will find the website and for their where you can get this yourself. And I really hope you can still get hardcovers. I know you can get the PDFs, but I really hope you can still get the hardcovers because these are really well made too. I mean, these are like professionally bound, like textbook bound. Like if you can tell, it's like and I never really knew anything about textbook binding and stuff like that, and why that's better than what like a lot of the glue binding that a lot of these things use. But these are really, really well done. Leather, like full leather covers, and just really, really good quality. And like I said, the artwork is fantastic. So there you go. That's Hot Springs Island. So if you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them. If you're a player and you are being on that island, you want to know where like some monsters, I'm not going to answer that question. What I would love, if you're watching this video and you would love to have me review something that's like maybe a little off the beaten path as far as an RPG goes, something that is like the diamond in the rough, that may be something I have missed. Thing is, I probably own it. I tend to scour websites and lists and videos and whatever, looking for every little tiny weird RPG I can possibly get my hands on. I'm a voracious consumer of those, but things always slip through my fingers, as they say. So if there's something out there that you think that I should take a look at, I would love to hear from you, and you can let me know. But thank you as always for taking the time to watch this, and hopefully I'll have more of these RPG reviews here in the future. All right, you take it easy.